discussed about the structure query language, retrieving the data by using the select statement. We are going to work on the select statement. We are going to write some different select statements depending upon different scenarios. So retrieving data. The meaning of retrieving data is that when you are going to retrieve, when you are going to access the data, when you are going to get the data from your database. So for that purpose, we are going to use queries. Later on in later semesters, you are going to write the queries for entering the data, for inserting, for update, and for delete the data. You are not going to do like that. Let me show you this. I hope this will be clear. The name of the server name, localhost, and connect. So I have currently some databases available here. So database. So suppose I have a database here, student. So in the table student, I want to enter some data. So right click, edit top 200 rows, and you are going to enter the data manually. In the student table, now there is no record. I am entering student ID 1, student name Ahmad, address is Parvanedu, email is ahmad@yahoo.com, and mobile is suppose that one, and course ID is suppose 10. I'll enter the record in my test database. Today we will work on my test database. So this is an employee table. So I am entering the record, edit top 200 rows. So already I have some records available here. So I am entering the 10th record. Suppose 10th is Mark, and he is the manager. His salary is suppose 2300. The date of his joining is 2011 1st 10. And wait, I will show you. And the manager number is null. The commission is suppose 10%, and the department ID is 30. So one record is added. So in the future, I'm not going to add the record by writing it manually inside the table. For that reason, I'm going to use the queries. Select query is the main query which is used to retrieve the data. Now how to write the query? Let me magnify it for you guys. So here, now this is the data inside my database, my test database, and inside a table here employee. So there is some data. I have created some fields here. The employee ID, employee name, job, salary, hire date, manager number, commission, and department ID. So for writing the query, you need to click on new query. So a page will appear here to you for writing the query. Now for writing the query, so the keyword, and we discussed about the keyword, the reserved word. Clear? The word which is dedicated for performing some function, some fixed function. So the working of the function select, word select. Now it become blue. So it means it is a reserved word, and we will type the static. Select static. Static is for universal. Universal means all the data. From is also a reserved word. From where? From the table employee. So when you execute the query by pressing this or by just pressing the F5, so below you will see that the query is executed and all the data has been displayed to you. Clear? Because I give the instruction that select static from employee. Select all the data from the employee and display it to me. Clear? Data using the SQL select statement, and we have seen that by writing the reserved word select, all the data is selected. So in front of that, writing the static, that is for universal. Select all the data. Select all the data of some specific table. Clear? So today we will work on the select word, the select keyword, the select reserve word. So after completing this lesson, you should be able to do the following. List the capabilities of SQL select statement. When we are going to complete this lesson, when we are going to finish this lesson today, so you will be able to work on different select statements, selecting something, select distinct. We will discuss all of them, different types of select statements. Clear? And you will be able to execute a basic select statement. After completing this lecture, you will be able to list the capabilities. Capability means the features, the working, the functionality, and the advantages. Clear? The features, simply the features. You will be able to use the different features of select statement, select command. Clear? And you will be able to execute a select statement. So capabilities of SQL select statement. So select statement can have different capabilities, can have different features. The first one, you are seeing the projection. In the projection, the pink columns, it means that you can select some columns. In the second, the selection, you can select the pink rows. You can select the data as column wise or as row wise. Clear? And in the third, by using the selector, you can join two tables. You can join two tables by using outer join or inner join. We will discuss about the outer and inner join later on when we are going to use some another queries as well, inner join and outer join. So you can connect the tables as well. Basic or a general syntax of select. So select distinct column expression alias from table. Select identifies the column to be displayed. It means that by using select, you are giving the command that select those specific columns, that those specific rows from that specific table. So by using select, it's the select command identifies the columns to be displayed. Which columns the user want to display? Which columns the user want to display from identifies the table containing those columns. So we will use the select command. We will define some columns, and then we need to define in the end from which table we want to display those columns. Clear? So we discussed about the select static, all the data from departments. Now let's come to the select department ID, location, or when we are going to select some specific data. Now selecting some specific columns. This time I'm not going to select all of the data. This time I'm going to select some specific columns. So how we are going to do that? So I am leaving this query for you for your convenience, that when you execute this query, so execute, all the columns are appeared here. Now this time I just want to display the employee ID, the employee name, and its salary. So for that purpose, first of all, I'm making it as a comment for your convenience. Now select employee ID, the same name you need to use, employee ID, employee name, and salary from employee. So when you execute the query, you will see that only the employee ID, the employee name, and salary is appeared. Not all of the columns are displayed, because this time I didn't use the static. Static means universal, show each and everything inside the table. But this time I didn't use the static. This time I didn't use the universal, that don't show me all of that. Just show me some specific columns which I'm going to write it here. So that specific columns are employee ID, employee name, and salary. Suppose I don't want to see the employee ID, I want to see the job. What's the job of that person? So now execute it. So you will see that employee name is Smith, his salary is 1450, and he's an analyst. Same King, his salary is $3,000, and he's the CEO. So, and the rest of that. So when you are going to display some specific columns, when you want to display some specific columns, so for that reason you don't need to write the static. If you write the static, so it will display all the data to you. it will display all the columns to you. Clear? But here our aim is not to display all the columns. Our aim is to suppose display the employee name, the hire date, and the salary. So you will see that the Smith is hired on 2000 that date, his salary is that. Clear? We have wrote a query, select employee name. Now this time I am giving instruction for selecting some specific columns. Select, what you need to select? Select the employee name. Employee name is the name of a table. Employee name is a column, a column inside your table with the same spellings. Show me the employee name, comma, the job column, and show me the salary column. From where? From the table employee, and the name of the table is EMP. Clear? So you need to write the same name of the table, otherwise the query will not be executed.
So what if
SQL statements. SQL statements are not case sensitive. It means that you can write the select word in small alphabets as well. It will work as well, but it is not a good programming practice. It will be good, it will be preferred good for you guys to write it in capital letters. Select from these type of keywords, the reserve word, the commands, they should be in capital wordings. SQL statements can be entered on one or more lines. What keywords cannot be abbreviated or split across lines. It means that you cannot write SLT instead of the complete word select. So abbreviation cannot be used for the commands for the reserved words. Clause are usually placed on separate lines. It means it will be a good programming practice for you guys to place the clause on separate line like this. So still it will work, but it is a good programming practice to place the clause on different lines. If you use separate lines for writing separate clause, so it will be easier for the user to read it. Clear? And it will be more readable instead that the query is in one line. You have used so many joins, you have used so many columns, you have used so many clause, order by, where, and then it will be difficult for the user if someone read your program, if someone see your database, if someone see your query, so it will be very difficult for that person to understand that query. So it is a good programming practice to place that on separate lines. Clear? Yes. Understand this one, that clause are usually placed on separate lines. So the second statement will definitely be clear to you, that SQL statement can be entered on one or more lines. The same example I have given to you, that now this is on two lines. I wrote it on one line, still it is working. If you write it on two line, so still it will work. Clear? So SQL statement can be entered on one or more than one line. Clear? But it is a good programming practice to always put the clause on second line, on separate line, for readability purpose. We can apply the arithmetic expression on the query. If you want to multiply something with the column, with some column, so suppose I'm going to multiply 300 with the salary, so I can use the multiply expression, I can use the multiply operator. If I want to add two columns, I can use the plus operator. If I want to divide something, I can use it as well. If I want to subtract something, I can use the subtract operator, minus as well. Clear? So there is no penalty for using arithmetic operations, arithmetic operators inside my query. So we will see that how it works. Suppose now I'm making this query also as a comment, and I'm writing here that select employee name, its job, its salary, and salary multiply by 12. Suppose I am calculating his annual salary. What is the annual salary of that employee? So I can use the multiply as well. Multiply by 12. So I am calculating his annual salary, his all the salary of the year. From where? From employee. Execute. So you will see here that is Smith, his job is analyst, his salary is $1,450. So his annual salary for 12 months is $17,400. Clear? So, but here the name of the column is missing, no column name. The calculated expression have no column name, and we will discuss about that as well, that how to provide the name of the columns as well. Select employee name, job, his actual salary, and the salary multiply by 10%. It is not plus 10%. If you write 10%, so it will add the value 10 to that. So divide to error because you are using plus 10. If you use plus 10, so it will only add a 10 with the salary. Execute, so you will see that only 1450, so the result is 1460. We need to apply here the formula for calculating the percentage. Multiply by 10 and then divide by 100, so it will calculate the 10% of your salary. So the 10% of your salary is 145 rupees, $145 or anything. So now if I want to add, suppose your boss, your manager, he give you 10% bonus. You show excellent performance and he give you a bonus of 10% of your salary. That suppose your salary is 2000, so what will be the 10% of 2000? Your salary is 1500, what will be the 10% of your that salary? So if that is for report purpose, for writing the actual query later on, you need to write the actual query. It will not affect your table. The query, the calculations which I am performing here, it is not affecting your actual table. Let me show you how. So now there is no new column created inside your table. So you will see that the rest of that is same. The employee ID, the employee name, job, salary, hire date, manager number, commission and department ID. There is no 10% column. And here when you write the query, you will see that there is a 10% column. And the name is no column name. We will see that how to provide the column name as well. So this is for just report generating purpose. If your boss want to see, if you are an IT developer in any company, your boss want to see that show me the 10% of the each and everyone's employee salary. What will be the 20% of their salary? What will be the 30%? So for report generating purpose, you are going to use this query, these operations, these arithmetic expressions. Clear? Now the boss plan to give you the 10%. So I'm going to add this 10%, this 145 in each and everyone's salary. So it will be salary plus the 10%. So now the 10% incremented salary is that one, 1595. So you can apply the arithmetic functions, the arithmetic operations on your query. Now let's come to the slide. So that was our operations. Now if you want to add anything, if you want to calculate the percentage, if you want to find your monthly salary, if you want to see anything, so you can apply arithmetic expressions. So here select last name, salary plus 300, add 300 Afghanis, $300 in my salary, in my current salary. So it will display you the actual salary and it will display you the salary plus 300. Clear? And we have seen for calculating the 10%, salary multiply by 10 and divide by 100. Clear? And then we add the salary in that. So if you want to find the 300, suppose you got an increment of 300 this month, you got 300 increment. So we will write that select employee name, job, it's already recording, job, salary, and suppose the boss want to see that how much increment each and everyone, he planned to give $300 increment to each and every employee, and he want to see their current new salary, that after increment show me the salary before the increment and also after the increment. So salary plus 300. So 300 is increment from which? From the employee table. So execute. So you will see that the previous salary was 1400 and the new incremented salary is your $1,750. Clear? So this is the incremented 2300. This is just for the report generating purpose. Later on, if the increment is done, if the increment is fixed, so they are going to create new column for increment as well. Clear? But this is just for the report generating purpose for your manager, for your CEO. He just want to see that if I give the increment, what will be the extended salary.
So what if we want to?
So simply you need to write it here instead of that.
No sir, I mean that
The incremented salary is that column. So write it here again. So now this time you can see that the name of, there is no name for the column. There is no name for the column above. So how we can provide the name of the column as well, some specified name as well. For that reason, we need to write something extra in our query as well. And I will show you. First of all, have a look to this slide. So we add the salary by using the arithmetic expressions. Now look at the operator precedence. What action will be performed first? 12 multiply by salary plus 100. So the plus operation will be performed first or the multiply? Multiply will be performed first. But if you create the parenthesis, so plus will be performed first and then it will be multiplied. So by putting the parenthesis, the precedence, the priority is increased. The priority will increase. Now here don't get confused that here the columns in the this table is a little bit changed: last name, job ID, salary and commission percentage, but there we used as commission. Clear? So here just the column names are a little bit changed and the rest of that is same. So null is a value, defining a null value. Null is a value that is unavailable, unassigned, unknown or inapplicable. It means that when you store null, it didn't mean that you store 0. 0 means something. 0 is a digit as well. 0 means something. We will discuss on the commission. So now 0 means something, that something is available. Null means nothing. Nothing is available, empty, no 0. 0 means something else and null means something else. When we are going to write the query on commission, so you will see that what is the meaning of null. So null is not the same as 0 or blank space. If you write blank space, there is something reserved in the database. If you write 0, there is still some space reserved in the database. But if you use null, it means nothing, no space, nothing. Clear? Now let me show you how the null works. What is the meaning of null? I am making it as comment as well. So I am writing here a query for select employee name. Suppose I am going to see the commission, employee name, job, salary, commission from employee. So you see there that we have some null values. Smith is an analyst, his salary is that, his commission is 10. Alan, he is also an analyst, his commission is 20. But what about if some Muslim is working in that organization? And in Islamic law, you know that commission is prohibited. It is haram. Commission means that when you charge something extra, commission is something which is not allowed in the Islamic law, which is prohibited in the Islamic law, which is haram. So suppose if someone who is working in an organization and he is a Muslim and he don't want to get the commission, so now the value is stored here null. Suppose Smith, Allen, the rest of they are interested in the commission. The rest of the foreigners, they are interested in the commission, but not the Muslims. So Smith Allen, he is getting the commission 10%, 20%. Ahmad Ali, they are the manager in the organization and they are not interested in getting the commission. So the value is null. Value is not zero. Zero means that later on in future might be, this time he is not getting the commission, but might be in future he will receive the commission. So zero means something else. Null means nothing. No commission. And when I will write the query, so it will be clear to you that nothing will be, null means nothing, no value, not blank space. Blank space and zero means some value, something is stored in the database, but null means nothing. So Ahmad and Ali, they are also working in the same organization, but they are not interested in getting the commission, because in Islamic law it is prohibited. So King, Ford, Martin, they are getting the commission. George, he's a clerk, he's also not interested in the commission. And the Jimmy, he's also the clerk, and this time its value is zero. It's mean that at this time he's not getting the commission, but in the future might be he will receive the commission, he will get some value. So
commission is calculated according to their salary.
All of the employees, they get the commission. Suppose they get the $300 commission, each and every employee. So they want to add the commission with their, they want to increment their commission. So suppose I'm writing here 300 commission plus 300. So when I execute the query, so you will see the null values will be null. The null values will be null, and the commission of Smith, previous it was, let me show you. So executed. So the previous commission was 10, the incremented was 310. 20, the incremented of 320. Null, null. I add the 300 with the null, but it's still null. Null means if something is null, you multiply, you divide, you plus, you subtract, it will be null. Clear? It means no value. Now what about the zero one? Zero is a value. Now see the zero. Jimmy is a clerk, and before its commission was zero. Now when there was an increment in the commission, or some commission is increased, so the value will become from 0 to 300. So it means that 0 is some value, but null is no value. Null is nothing. Each and everything which multiply, which add, which subtract, which divide with the null, it will be still null. Clear? Yes. But 0 is a value. If someone have a 0 commission, if someone has a 0 value, so it means that might be in future he will get some commission. Clear?
Yes. Yes.
But if you store the null value, it means nothing. Nothing. No record. No. Nothing. Empty. Clear?
Yes.
That if something is multiplied with the null value, it still will be null. That we multiplied here with the, for the commission we wrote here a query, select employee name, his job, show me his job, his salary, commission, and I'm going to add the commission with, suppose 100 increment commission from employee table. So let me connect it. So you will see that those who have no commission before, they will get the commission, because 0 is a digit, 0 is a value. Now there is no name above. There is no name above. So for giving this column a name, I need to write it as. This is a word, a keyword as, inside the double quotation, the name of that, suppose bonus. When you execute it, so you will see that the name of that column is now updated with a value. A column alias. A column alias renames a column heading. It should be. We are going to perform some expressions on our data, so no name was available to us here, so you executed, so no column name was available in the advance. Itself will not be affected. There are some fixed columns in the calculated result will be created in a new column, clear, but without any heading. So when you are providing them the heading, they are known as the alias, the column alias. So what are the rules for the column alias? That a column, first of all, what is the definition? The column alias, they are the heading of the calculated columns. They are the heading of the calculated columns. It is useful with calculations. When you create a column for by calculating two columns or by calculating any result, so that that alias, that name will be used for that column. So immediately follows the column name. There can also be the optional as keyword between the column name and alias. It means that using as is optional. Suppose I want to write here the commission as a bonus. Suppose as is the word, is a keyword, is a reserved word, as in the double quotation bonus. Now when you execute it, so you will see that the commission, the added commission was renamed, the heading of that column is now bonus. So as is optional. If you remove as, so still the query will work. So the as keyword is optional. If you don't write as, so but professional way is to write as for understandability purpose, for readable purpose. So it is better to write as. Clear? For creating a permanent column, then you need to go to table design. But that was just for the report generation purpose. The generate a report, show me the bonus. If the procedure is done, the company is interested in giving you the commission, then they will tell you to add a permanent column, add a permanent place in the table. Then you are going to do that with the help of formula in the table design. As, the as keyword, when you are going to give the name to some column, clear? If you are going to give the name, suppose salary plus salary divided by 30 as daily salary. So when you execute it, so it is showing you your daily salary. I divide the salary by 30 days of month. So it is showing you your per day salary, and I give that the name daily salary. Clear? Concatenation purpose. So for concatenation, we use the double vertical bar in Oracle, but in SQL we use the plus operator. For concatenation means combining two columns. Clear? Combining two columns and displaying the report. So select last name, concatenate job ID as employees from employees. So links column or character strings to other columns. It creates a character string by combining two columns with each other. It is represented by two vertical bars in Oracle and by a plus operator, plus expression in SQL. Create a resultant column that is a character expression. Now this time I'm going to add the employee name and the job. Select employee name plus job as employee record, employee designation from the employee table. So when you execute, you will see that the two tables has been concatenated. The two columns has been concatenated. Smith is the employee name and analyst is the job. Alan Ahmad is the employee name, manager is the job. Two columns are being attached to with each other, concatenated with each other, and above I use the name of the column by using the as keyword for displaying the employee designation. If I want to display something in between them, that it will show me some space. Clear? So now when you execute it, you will see that there is some space in between them. Now I want to write something. Employee name is so Smith is an analyst, Alan is a analyst, Ahmad is a manager. So that's how you can concatenate the two columns by creating them as a single string and providing some column name, calculated column name. A literal is a character, a number, or a date that is included in the select statement. We write the literal character. I will show you again as well what are the literal characters. Date and character literal values must be enclosed within single quotation mark. We use the single quotation mark in between the two concatenation columns. We are concatenating two operators, we are joining to that, we are displaying them as a string. So we use the literal character in between them. Is a Smith is an analyst, Ahmad is a manager, Ali is a CEO. So we use the concatenation, the literal character in between the concatenation operator. So each character string is out once for each row return. What does that mean? It means that the row, the character, the literal character will be repeated for each and every row for just one time. So we will see what are the literal characters. So when you are going to concatenate, when you are going to join the two columns, so you will see Smith and job, Alan and job, Ahmad and his job. So what if I want to include some literal character? So two signs, two plus operators in between them, two single quotation mark, and now inside that a literal character is a. Now when you execute it, you will see that is a repeated. Let me give a space here. Now is a repeated for each and every row. Is a, Ali is a manager, Ford is a manager, Martin is a clerk. So is it is a literal character which is repeated for all and everyone. So if you write here anything, any numbers or anything, so it will be repeated for all of them once. Clear? If we don't want to use the duplicate rows, so we are going to use the word distinct, the keyword distinct. So it will show us just the one value. Suppose in department ID we have different department IDs. Let me show you first of all the department IDs. Now making it as a comment, select department, yes, from employee. So now I just want to see, you will see here department ID, 3 departments, 3 employees belong from department 10, 4 employee belongs from department 20, and 3 employee belongs from department 30. So there are duplicated values. So if you see that ename, employee name, and department ID, so you will see that Smith duplicated values, repeated values, duplicated rows, 10, 10, 10, 20, 20, 20, 30, 30, 30. So when you just want to see just one value, so we will use the word distinct, the keyword distinct. So now you will see that we have 110, 120 and 130. No duplicate rows are generated. Clear? So we use the word distinct for displaying some singular value or single value. Now here we use the department ID. You will see that 90, 90, 90, 60, 60. All the departments were displaying. When you use the keyword distinct, and it will show you only one value, no duplicate rows. To use describe command, displaying the table structure, how you will display the table structure, what is the structure of the table. For displaying the structure, this is for Oracle. In Oracle, you will write describe command and then the name of the table. You will write the describe and then you will write the name of the table, and all the table structure will be displayed to you. All the information relating to the table and the table information will be displayed. Or you can select the table in the connection, and you can use the connection tree and use the columns tab to view the table structure. But in SQL, the method SQL, you need to write exec, it is a reserved word, sp columns, and the name of the table, which is the employee. So when you execute it, so you will see all the information about your table is displayed. That the table qualifier, who is the table owner, the name of the table, how many columns you have in your table, and each and every information related to your table. Clear? So this will be displayed by writing this exec, sp columns, and employee. This is the property and this is a keyword. Clear? This is all about your select, and now it's time for practice.